In just 80 days, South Africans head to the polls in the 7th National Democratic election, possibly the most pivotal since 1994.
It's a big year for the country. Some new political parties may make it to parliament,
while others may lose some existing power. The pressure is on.
not just for the parties, but for the voters who want the promises made to them to be kept.
So we're on a mission to gain a better understanding of what to expect.
And who to believe.
In 2024, nearly half the world's population will vote in elections in 80 countries. In South Africa, a record number of voters have registered.
For the parties in parliament, this election is about survival. For those contesting for the first time, it's about breaking the mold. But for South Africans, it's about change. 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 𝗶𝗵𝗶 is from My Vote Counts, an organization building an informed citizenry that takes part in democracy.
We deem 2024 as a year of uncertainty. There's possibilities of shifting power, so that's what makes it amazing.
Every election cycle, they say that.
No,
this is the year.
This is the year.
Oh,
the previous years. And I can definitely tell you that there's opportunities to shift power this time, if we do it correctly.
30 years of democracy, does that mean anything with unemployment the way it is right now and load shedding terrorizing communities?
The social and political implications of our country don't necessarily mean that we should give up on democracy. There's a lot of work to be done to make democracy work for people.
But the burning question is, what are people voting for?
Previously, I was voting for the party, but now it's more to do with what the individual presents.
I believe in a world of political cults and personality cults, so it's always the party.
Sure, I think it's a mixture of all three, but more the promise.
But what can we expect when we line up on the 29th of May to make our mark? The Independent Electoral Commission is running the show, and they're going to give us a sneak peek of what's to come. 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 is from the IEC.
For the first time in 2024, we will have 3 ballot papers. We will also have independents contesting for these 10 legislatures for the first time. It's a new era beginning going forward.
The IEC is gearing up 23,000 voting stations around the country, aiming to deliver a quick and efficient voting experience. What should voters expect? What are they going to get?
We give you the ballot papers. Now there's
Papers.
Papers. They are 3. There's 3 of them. 2 are for the National Assembly. That would be the pink and the orange are for the national legislature. And then the blue is for the provincial legislature.
In other words, the pink and orange ballots decide who'll sit in Parliament in Cape Town, and the blue one is for those who'll govern the provinces.
People need to understand that these are national and provincial elections, and in essence what we're trying to do is to decide who makes decisions in relation to the money of the country. At national level, that makes sense for where money is dispersed. At a local government level, who then do we choose to implement the things that were decided nationally?
But this time round, the country is spoilt for choice.
How many political parties do you think there are registered?
I think maybe about 10 or something.
All the small parties is just popping up like nobody's business.
It's like well over 50 or something like it, isn't it?
It's more, keep going.
Yeah, 60,
more,
70,
more,
80,
more,
120.
No, think again. There are over 350 national political parties that could contest this election.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I would never have imagined that many.
Too much choices, too many selections, it might lead to voter apathy.
We have our big 3 political parties. We have the usuals. We also have the newbies and, of course, the wild card, the introduction of independence. But in order to get onto the ballot, they have to give notice to contest, pay at least R250,000 deposit, and provide a list of signatures. On election day, the orange and blue ballots will also vary from province to province and will include independent candidates for the first time ever. The final list of qualifying political parties will be locked in by the end of March, but trends show the number of voting options has yet to impact the outcome.
Since '94 to now, we've not had more than 14 political parties sitting in the legislature, although contesting has been growing every election.
More than ever, the country's ruling party is feeling the pressure, with a majority win not guaranteed.
Unemployment is at its highest, the economy is barely dodging a recession, and the growing distrust in government's capabilities is undeniable.
It's a crisis of neoliberalism and less of a crisis just special to South Africa.
Yeah, but what does that mean for people who are living through it? Most South Africans don't care that the same thing is happening in other countries. They just want stable electricity supply, stable water supply, and a chance to improve their lives.
No, for sure, you're right. People need to eat now. But understanding that it's not a special case to South Africa helps us think about the kind of solutions that we're wanting to put forth.
And solutions are a dime a dozen. When it comes to election time, parties launch extensive manifestos at elaborate events. A manifesto is a contract of trust. The party sets out its promises and how they'll fix our problems. But that manifesto isn't binding. It's really just a wish list. And the people know that.
I think they made for elections.
I guess it's they're just selling us the dream.
It's not going to suddenly start raiding houses and geysers and refrigerators. Hard work is going to get this country back on its feet.
Politicians are politicians. They make promises, but hopefully things will change.
We're here now because of the same promises that are being recycled.
Every time when you go to vote, they promise, then after, they're gone.
Election manifestos specifically target frustrated and vulnerable communities,
honing in on daily struggles, selling a dream that many feel is long overdue.
So, Govind, lots of promises being made here. Let's just talk through some of them.
Load shedding, that's the biggest one. It's something that all the parties say they can solve, some quicker than others.
Another big problem, unemployment, jobs. I mean, the ANC says they can provide up to 3.5 million job opportunities. The DA says 2.5 million, and the EFF says up to 9 million.
You know what's a big election issue? Corruption.
Yeah.
South Africans are desperate for ethical leadership, but who can provide it?
Another thing that affects us all, crime. Now, when it comes to crime, some are saying decentralize the police, and some are saying just tougher policing.
You know, there's so many other issues, health, education, climate change. All of these parties say they've got solutions for these problems.
But are they plausible?
Word on the street is that South Africans are skeptical.
They are quite ambitious, and obviously it's to get votes. We can't just say 3 million or 9 million, as you said, the EFF. How are you going to get 9 million jobs?
I think all of that is impossible.
I'll take anything. Right now, it's like there's a lot of South Africans sitting and waiting, so I'll take anything for everyone.
Load shedding. The EFF says they'll end it in 6 months. What do you think of that?
I don't think that is possible.
Truth or lie?
Lie. That's a lie.
How? The faults of load shedding have infested Eskom into its core. So it cannot be done by just throwing the money at it or just throwing policy at it. It's much more complex.
But despite the distrust, there is still hope for change.
I think the grass is potentially very green if we keep watering it the right way in the next couple of years ahead of us.
It might take time, but you have to progressively try over and over again until something does change.
When you go out there, you may be a single vote, but you're doing it also on our behalf as a nation, as a country.
Whether 2024 delivers change remains to be seen.
Perhaps most surprising right now is how an obviously skeptical electorate is prepared to give politicians another chance to prove them wrong.